Welcome to the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Alysia. Greatness is a decision and your birthright. You deserve to love the woman looking back at you in the mirror. This show is for the purpose-driven female entrepreneur who is committed to only counting the time she gets back up. The woman who is ready to ignite the flame within, find her voice, and use the power of her story to transform the lives of those around her. This is your weekly fuel to inspire you to action, where I'll be sharing inspirational stories, real talks with thought leaders and successful entrepreneurs from around the world, and provide you with actionable success strategies for creating a business you love. I'm a content marketing coach, and I'm committed to helping you as an online creator and entrepreneur wherever you are to turn your dreams into a reality, to help you transform your messaging so you can create a genuine connection with your audience and grow your income online. You are far more powerful and stronger than you will ever imagine. We are the warriors. You were born for this. Let's make life your bitch. Hello. Welcome to the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. I am your host, Brittany Alysia, and today we are going to talk about 5 reasons why you haven't manifested your dream business yet. And I'm really excited about today's episode because as many of you know, or maybe you don't, I typically record Monday's episodes the night before. So it is Sunday night for me. And the reason I do that is because obviously I believe in energetics, and I also like to share with you what's currently going on in my world. This is something that I do with the Make Life Your Bitch membership, is we work on business stuff based on strategies and that I'm currently implementing into my own business, or talk to people about their own strategies and things that I'm doing and I'm learning, so that way people are getting real time stuff versus me trying to teach you old shit that, is outdated, right? Social media is so fast moving, but any hoodles, I digress. So today's episode, like I said, it's about talking about why you haven't manifested your dream business yet. And the reason I decided I wanted to talk about this today is because I'm all about talking about the mindset in conjunction with strategy. I'm not someone who, when you purchase a program from me and I say that it's about strategy, that all of a sudden you come in and I'm only talking about mindset, or you think you're going to learn strategy and someone's teaching you only about mindset. I think they really relate together, and you can't have one without the other. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your life has gone to shit and you just feel energetically misaligned, your audience is going to be able to feel that. And the reason they're going to be able to feel that is because through social media, everything we do is based on content, right? It's content marketing. And because it's all content focused, whether it's the reels, stories, your posts, that kind of thing, people can feel that, right? Have you ever walked into a room and you can tell someone is in a real shitty mood, and you're they have their back turned to you, and you're just man, you're slowly creeping out the door and you're just kidding, I'm not going to go in here. It's the same thing with your content. People can feel it, right? When you're not in alignment. And I don't know about you, but have you ever looked at posts of people's and it seems like when they're selling, there's so much desperation there, and they don't even have to say anything in that way that it seems desperate, but I know I can read people's posts and it's this weird energy that I get in my chest, and I'm just ooh. And it's because there's a misalignment there. But, that's what I really want to talk about today, is really being able to bring in the mindset and the strategy. But last night I watched Social Dilemma, and it's a show that a documentary on Netflix that I've really been avoiding because I heard a lot of negative reviews about it and people acting really shocked by what was shared on there. And to me, after I watched it, I was just kind of duh, no shit. I don't know why we're acting surprised that these social platforms have affected political discussions and, how people were elected and all that kind of stuff, stuff with COVID, all that kind of thing. I mean, you think about like just a small group of friends and you having a heated debate or a discussion around something, and you learn something new from someone, in your close circle. Well, it's the same thing with social media. It's just now we can actually connect with people worldwide, right? Or someone across your country. And there's so many more opinions being thrown out there that you almost don't even need the platforms to create this conflict. It's no different than something you would do in your personal life. Like, I don't think these platforms could ever actually like not have some sort of conflict, because to me, that's just humans like discussing something, even if it wasn't like a conflict per se, and it was just a discussion, it's still going to be there, but now it's at a grander scale. But anyway, the reason I want to bring that up is because with Social Dilemma, when I watch these kinds of documentaries, I am not the kind of person who acts shocked by social media. I mean, I help my clients grow their businesses through social media. So I'm actually sitting there listening, like, what are these people saying the algorithm is doing, and what is the goal of these platforms? Because I'm here running a business, right? And so if I'm running a business, I'm listening to it in the sense of, how can I utilize what they're saying the platform desires from people to use in my own business? So for example, the platform wants you to stay on the platform as long as possible. So it'll send you notifications, and it can see where you are. So it'll connect you with people. It'll connect you with different, like the ads that you see and the products that you purchase. Like, to me, when people act surprised by this, I'm like, why are you surprised? That's what it's all about. And like, it can very much be used in a good way. And of course, there's people who are going to use it in a negative way. And unfortunately, that's just humanity at this point in our lives. And of course, there's things that we can do as an individual, as a whole, to change that. But that's not what this episode is about. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is because I'm someone who likes to understand why something works the way it does, and then we figure out how it's going to work for you, right? I have a lot of clients, when they first connect with me, come to me and ask, like, I just want to know how do I do it? How do I do it? How do I do this? How do I make more money? How do I get more clients? And it's like, okay, so what we need to sit down and like, you need to learn is why it is working for everyone, like not everyone else, but why it's working for other people and why it's not working for you. What do they know that you don't know? And now that you know this, now that I've educated you on it, now let's figure out how we're going to make it work for you. So if you haven't heard, today is Monday. If you're listening to this, I have just announced that the Make Life Your Bitch membership there's a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. It'll go until the end of Tuesday, and you are going to get lifetime access to the membership, and it'll be $2,500 paid in full or $255 per month for the next year. So for 12 months, and then you're in it for life. So what do you get with the membership? You get weekly calls with myself, where we're actually going to be interacting, on Zoom. I help you with your business, help you with your mindset, topics such as what I talk about on the podcast here. Then so we have Monday calls. You get access to every program that I create. So you'll have access to the vault, everything that I've created in the past. And so that's stuff like the Independent Boss Babe Academy, Luxury, Wealthy Woman, anything that I've created in the past, influencer, any master classes, all that kind of stuff. And then you also get access to any programs coming up. So like Dimensions, if you've been listening to that and you've been thinking about if that's for you, you'll get access to that. You're going to get access to abundance codes that is coming up. And I am no longer going to be selling those programs separately. So they are going to be, in order to be part of them, you'll have to be part of the membership. So that price is, and we also have a group chat. So you have access to me Monday to Friday inside the group chat. So with that being said, that one, like I said, is $2,500 paid in full or $255 per month. And the price is going to be going up after Tuesday to $5,000 paid in full, $555 monthly. And like I said, you're only paying that for the year, but you're staying in as long as that container is open. It doesn't include masterminds or private coaching. But this is what I want to share with you guys is the 5 reasons. So number 1, you're focused solely on energetics without taking any real action. So what does that mean? It means that you are way too much in your feminine and you are not doing anything in your masculine. What I like to do is I operate in both, right? We have our left side is our feminine, our right side is our masculine. And so we really want that to be balanced and in harmony. So what I do in the morning for a feminine routine is I meditate. I do a silent meditation in the morning and I just do an observation of my thoughts and I don't take on anything in regards to what those thoughts are. I don't open my eyes and write an idea down. I just trust it. So I set a timer for 10 minutes and I observe my thoughts. Whatever comes through at that time, and I often ask, like, what is my moves for today? Whatever comes through, then I go do masculine energy and I listen to what it told me and I go act on it. Then I'll go down, I'll have coffee, I'll relax, then I'll go do another action, right? And so we need to be in both our feminine and masculine. We need to do the mindset and the strategy. You can't just like throw sparkles at the world and hope that stuff is going to come to you. There is some action that needs to take place. And I know there's going to be some of you that disagree with me on this, but there is little things that we do and aligned moves that we make that is like connected. I think a lot of people, like I can teach you all the strategies in the world, but if your life is shit right now and you feel disconnected from your business, or you are trying to put out content and nobody's looking, nobody's purchasing, the reason is because people can feel your energy, right? And so this goes back to that whole concept of, you know, when someone comes into the room and you can feel that they're in a bad mood, you want to like run as far and as fast as you can from them. People can feel that in your content as well, right? So if you're creating content and it's from a place of desperation, whether you talk about it or not, people can feel it. And so that's why mindset is so important, and being clear on your desires, the direction that you're going, what you want. Because when we can identify, like, what is it that I want? What is my mindset? Like, you know, if you want to have a big yacht in, like, you know, that you can cruise on for the rest of your life, that's great. And if the mindset is like, I want to work from there and I want to work from the boat. And like my question I always ask my clients is, okay, so what does freedom on the yacht doing your business look like to you? Is it that you're on the yacht and you're working 40, 80-hour weeks? Or is it that you work a few hours a day, maybe in the morning before the sun comes out and it gets nice and hot so that you can go be on the water, on the deck, whatever. And so I also believe in like creating a business around your life now versus trying to like restructure it later. So with that being said, is we need to get really clear on what we want. And then from there, we make the next move towards that goal. And so that's why I say, like, we can't focus only on energetics. We need to get really clear on the energetics first of what do I want? Then we ask, like, what is my next aligned move? And we make that move. And while we're making those moves, the energetics is super important because we're holding that vibration. If you've listened to any of the episodes based on manifestation, the quantum leaping that I just did, those ones, that's a really good example of how like you really are staying in that vibe and also holding the duality, right? Energy and motion. That's what emotions are. And it's important for us not to keep that energy stagnant within our bodies. I did a mini-sode on frustration and how it is the worst possible emotion that you can have because frustration does not move. So, like I said, number one is you're focused solely on energetics without taking any real action. Number two, reasons why you have not manifested your dream business is you keep changing your mind and can't decide what you want to create for both your life and your business. So where I was talking about, the very beginning is like, number one, what do you desire? What is the dream for your life and your business? I've had clients do visualizations where, and maybe you can relate, where they do the visualization and every time they do the visualization, it's different. Or they do the visualization and while they're visualizing and what's coming up for them, they're wondering why that, and they're trying to change the visualization and they like totally go into their thoughts. So it's writing it down, right? Like write down what is it that you want. Take some time. Like this is your dream life. I'm pretty sure that you can take a hot minute to identify what this perfect life looks like for you. And that way, when you're going through that process of really identifying what you want, you're going to be able to, when you do your visualizations, actually be able to see it now. That is the first call that I do with my private clients, is I take the time to do an actual visualization with them based on where do they see themselves in 1 year, and we identify what it looks like and we don't question it. And I ask them all sorts of questions about what it looks like, because then I know they have this place that they've been. I've been there with them because I just visualized it with them. And now when they do their visualizations, they know where they're going. We also identify a belief that's holding them back from, like, now they see this visualization and it's like, but where's that? And then I ask them, where's that feeling in your body that tells you this isn't possible? And then we go through, we release a belief based around that, and we get them to walk hand in hand with their future self and their, inner child, where the first limiting belief came from. So that is like the first call I do with my private clients. Also, because we're talking about Black Friday stuff, I just announced that I'm doing a 3-month offer. It's $3,000 painful, or $1,111 per month. And it's for the first 2 people who grab it, and then the price will increase. That has to be done through a quick chat with me, because we want to make sure that you and I are a good fit. So I'll make sure all these links are going to be dropped in the description. Okay. So when I talk about you keep changing your mind and you can't decide what you want, like that first thing I said is you need to write it down, identify, like take some time to dream. Like what is the dream? And then visualize it and identify, like, what is that beautiful business that you want to create? And then from there, then we ask, what is my next aligned move? And what I see a lot of people do is they bounce around and they don't trust. Like there's a lack of trust there. And so it's that shiny object syndrome idea where you see a strategy and you see it working for one person and you start doing it, and then you see someone else having a strategy and they're saying that that other strategy doesn't work. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, it's not working. And so then you try something else. But the reality is all of the strategies work. They all work because people wouldn't be selling them if they didn't, right? Because they're doing it themselves. The only one that I would say that doesn't work is, and this is my opinion, is the one that people who say like you don't need to be online at all in order to make sales. I always find that one so hypocritical because where do you find it? Usually on social media. Like I seen an ad the other day and it was like, let me teach you how to sell without being on socials. And I'm like, you're literally running the ad on social media. So please riddle me how you are selling without being on socials. But I digress. That's the only one that I'm just like, let's use some common sense here, people. Look at the strategy itself. Is this person an embodiment of it and the way that they're selling? So, when it comes to the strategy piece, really identifying like, what is my perfect, beautiful business that I would love to create? What does that beautiful life look like? What are the things that I enjoy doing? And I'm going to choose this strategy and I'm going to go all in on it. So, and maybe you use other things. So for example, a Facebook group. Maybe you love going live in your Facebook group, but you're finding that there's no reach in there. Maybe you're finding that you're kind of bouncing around. You're like trying reels and stories and you're wondering why people aren't buying from your reels and stories. Well, what we want to be able to do is like all roads lead to one place. And that's where it's like you sell, that's where you show up, that's where you give like all the good information, right? And so for me, one of the places I love to show up is my podcast. All roads lead to the podcast. So for example, if I do a carousel that is like tips and tricks, what I'll do is I'll say, if you want to learn more about this, go to the podcast. I just dropped an episode on this. So, you can do it that way. I could do a reel, right? Where I'm talking like, showing a couple things. I'm just getting into reels, but it's like I show some things. Where could people go deeper on that? Go to the podcast and I will share even more about it on X episode, right? And then obviously I drop offers on the podcast, my emails. Often I'll talk about an offer on my email and then I'll talk about a podcast episode. And so it's all roads lead to one place. And so it's really understanding. It's really all about understanding social media and how it all works and why the different platforms work the way they do, and then utilizing it in your business. And like I said, like if you want to work deeper with me on that, I would love to work with you because it's all about mindset. Like I'm all about mindset and strategy and helping you build business your way. So number 2 was keep changing your mind and you can't decide what you want to create for both your life and your business. So get clear on that. Number 3 is you don't allow yourself to truly feel grateful for the little things. So if we're talking about manifesting your dream business and we're talking about the mindset and the manifestation piece around it, is that you're too obsessed with not celebrating the little wins. Like when you make a $70 sale, but you're hoping for, a $20K sale and you're looking at, you're like, yeah, but I didn't make private coaching $20,000 or $100,000 or whatever it is that your goal was. And you're like, but someone purchased my program at $70 or a little offer. And, all of a sudden you feel frustrated because you didn't get the big sale. The universe is like, okay, you weren't even grateful for this little thing. Why am I going to give you the big thing? Can you handle it? Or will you get it and then just want even more? And so it's being grateful for the little things because, if you've listened to the Dimensions podcast episode, if you're going to be joining us in the membership, the Make Life Your Bitch membership, where we're going to go deeper into the different dimensions and how to manifest specifically your way for you. That is a huge piece around it, is like really holding the vibration, right? Holding the vibration of that fifth dimension where you are like manifesting at that high level where you're not hanging out in the 3D of like autopilot, but it all like opens things up when you start being grateful for the little things and you become more aware, right? The other day, so I had a $500 check come in the mail from the government. And it was totally one of those things that, well, all the adults, I'm in Canada, so we call them provinces. If you're in the United States, you call them states, that kind of thing. So everyone in our province, all the adults got a $500 check. And it's just because of like money, like stuff increasing, like the price of everything increasing. And, there's some people, well, for example, my boyfriend, I mentioned to him how like this check, and he's like, well, everyone got that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, well, I'm saying that I manifested this. And he's like, no. He's like, they're just giving you your money back. Like, you've already paid this extra money. It's like, I understand that, but I'm going to like have extreme gratitude for this $500 because what if it didn't come? Like, this is exciting. I got this. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that this money came to me. And so even though our logic brain is like, yeah, but it would have came to you anyway, the manifestation side is like, but would it? Would it have? Or are you like, vibrating at a higher level? And even if it did come anyway, would you have had gratitude that maybe like brought in something else into your life, new clients? And so it's all about, staying in that high vibe, right? It goes back to the magnetic piece. Number 4 is you're looking for answers by using crystals, cards, meditation, etc., without having a clear question. All of those tools are absolutely amazing. I use crystals, I use cards, I use meditation. I do all those things. So there is no judgment here of like me saying like, you shouldn't use those like different devices or tools in order to bring stuff into your life. The episode on Thursday is talking about crystals and all that kind of stuff. But with that being said, is having a clear question or a clear reason why you're using it. I think sometimes when you don't know what you want, if you don't have a clear desire and you're just pulling a card every day, hoping for direction, but you don't really know what you want, that doesn't really help you, right? But if you know what you want, it's like, I know what I want. And then you pull a card asking like, what is my next move? And the card like helps you along with that, then that's great, right? If you're throwing a crystal in your bra hoping to manifest, but you haven't really identified like what you want to manifest, like how is the universe, you could say, oh, I want more money. And it's like, okay, well, here's $1. But then you're not grateful for the dollar. And you're like, but that's not what I meant. Yeah, because you're not clear. So you're looking for answers by using those things without having a clear question. So get clear. It comes back to that clarity. What do you want? And number 5, you don't trust yourself or the universe. You keep looking at the time and wondering why you haven't received it yet while trying to figure out what you did wrong. Have you ever done that? Have you ever, desired something? You think like, I'm doing all the things. I have the crystal in my bra. I'm meditating every day. I'm pulling the tarot cards. I'm doing all the things. Like, what did I do wrong? Because it's not coming yet, right? And so that comes back to the dimensional stuff. It's like you're dropping the vibration. And I like to say to my clients, like, it's every time you change your mind as to what you desire, right? It's like you're in the 5th dimension and you have like all these like half-built homes. And it's because you can't decide what you want. It would be like if you went and you started building a house, right? And then all of a sudden you changed your mind. You're like, well, actually, I don't want it to be in Mexico. Actually, I want it to be like in Florida. and, you walk away from this half-built home and you start building this house in Florida, and it's like, actually, you know what? Like, I don't really like Florida. Maybe I want to go to cold ass Canada. And so you come to Canada and, you start building half a house here, and you're like, you know what? Actually, it's really cold here. I didn't realize it was this cold during the winter. So now I'm going to go build a house on the moon. And it's like you have all these half-built places. It's the same thing with anything in your life. If you are not clear, this comes back to clarity, right? If you are not clear on what you desire, how are you supposed to make aligned moves towards the desires? So then you're looking at the time. It's like, okay, so Brittany, I got clear on what I wanted. Awesome. I'm making the aligned moves, but why hasn't it happened yet? And it's because you don't trust the universe. But really, if you don't trust yourself, there's no way you're ever going to trust the universe. If you don't have self-trust and belief within yourself that you are powerful, that you can get clear on what you desire, that you know what you want. If you're like one of those people, it's like, I know what I want and I'm going after it. I don't fucking care what anyone else says. It's like believing that. You have to be like so confident in yourself that the universe is like, yes, here you go. Right? And if you're questioning the universe and you're like if you don't fully believe yourself and you're trying to like, ask the universe or God, and you're saying to God, like, can you bring this to me? And, you don't even trust yourself to make good decisions. Why would the universe or God give you something if you're showing this hesitation? Like, you don't really know if you want it or if you deserve it, right? Because then will you be grateful for it? Then will you utilize it the way that you to the best of your ability, right? So it begins with trusting yourself. So you trust yourself. This is what we're talking about in dimensions. Day 1 is all about learning how to trust yourself, feeling your own energy and connecting with like your like magnetism. Day 2 is all about trusting the universe, because now that you learn how to trust yourself, you trust the universe. And then day 3 is all about creating those aligned rituals or routines, like the actions in order to call in everything you desire, but making sure you do it your way, and because it feels fun and you can feel your own energy with that, and you feel this deep connection with you and the universe, right? And so that's one of the other thing, the last thing I see people struggle with is like, you're looking at the time and you're like, why hasn't it happened yet? And then because you're wondering why it hasn't happened yet, it's like you go back through 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? And all of a sudden you start changing your mind, you change your strategy, you start looking outside for more answers as to what you need to do versus just like staying in the vibe and perfecting that one goal, that one strategy, that one desire that you have. It's like, I want to learn how to do reels and I want to get really fucking good at them. And I want to be able to make money through reels. Awesome. Like, are you going to quit like 3 days in and be like, well, no one's buying from me yet, when you like still don't know how to really even create a reel to begin with? Like, no, of course not, right? It's like, if you are truly have this desire to learn how to do reels and to sell through them, and that's how you want to sell, go all in on that. And if you have something specific that really works for you right now, but you want to try something else, do not give up on the thing that is currently working for you. Still do that and bring this other thing in. And then when that other strategy starts working for you, then you can let the other one go if that's what you want to do. But, people, like I said, they chase the shiny objects, and it's not going to help you with your business because it comes back to what I was saying with the algorithm and stuff. Like, Facebook is going to be like, man, this person's like all over the place and nobody's engaging with their stuff. And it's like, because your audience feels like they're constantly running around trying to find you, right? If your audience knows, like for mine, Brittany has a podcast. I know every Monday, I am going to get an episode from Brittany where she's going to talk about mindset, strategy, whatever it is. Like, she's going to talk about business stuff and me feeling better about myself or whatever it is that I'm talking about that day. It's like, I know every Monday that that's what I'm going to get from her, and I show up. Well, if all of a sudden I skip an episode, it's like, well, where'd she go? Like, is she okay? Is she still doing the podcast? And then all of a sudden it's like, well, like your subconscious mind is thinking to yourself like, well, she was supposed to be here. She didn't show up. Maybe I don't trust her, And so we need to, like, all roads lead one place, right? And so this clarity on our business and our life is so important. This is why I say you need to build a business around your life, because that way you can still operate through your life and do life your way. And when you are clear on that and you build a business around that, you can share that with your audience, right? And so that way your audience knows who you are as a person, the way you show up. It's like, for me, I stopped doing my Facebook group for a while. I just announced today that I'm going to start going in there and kind of hanging out and doing some tips and tricks in there. But the big thing with that is, like I said to people, hey, I'm not going to be hanging out in here anymore. I'm a new mom. Like, I don't have time to be everywhere. And this is where I'm going to be focusing my energy. If you want to, like, come with me there, I would love for you to join me in this place, right? And so that is a huge piece of it, is really making sure that, however we decide to connect with people, that it is very, like, they know where to find you. And if you decide to change your mind, that's fine, but don't try and, like, spread yourself so thin and be in all these different places. And don't think that you need to create content like that is totally different in all these different places, because you don't. If someone sees you post the same thing in multiple places, well, cool. That just means they're like that in your world, that they're seeing it in multiple places. Social media is so fast moving that you'll miss things. I remember one of my clients saying to me, it was like a Monday, and she's like, well, I just posted this offer on Thursday. I don't know if I should post it again. And I said, like, no one saw it. I said, I didn't see it. No one saw it. Social media is so fast moving that people missed it. You need to talk about it again, right? So those are the 5 things as to why you have not manifested your dream business yet, is because you aren't clear on what you want. And this is life and business, right? You need to get clear on all of the things. Like, what is the big dream? Greatness is a decision and your birthright, but it begins with a decision. If you want to be great, if you want a beautiful life, what does that beautiful life look like? And it's about staying in your own lane, blocking out the noise, not seeing someone else talk about their dream and then thinking that your dream is too big or your dream is not enough. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what someone else's dream is. Like, you get to create your own. And maybe there is something that they share and you're just like, ooh, I want to incorporate that into my dream. But it's like about the energy of like, ooh, that would be really fun to bring into like my dream for myself, versus looking at someone else's dream being like, whoa, that's really big. Like, am I playing small? And all of a sudden feeling less than, or that you're not enough. Right? Like, not everyone wants to be multi-millionaires, billionaires. Some people are just like, you know what? Like, I just want a cottage by the lake that's paid off, and for me to be able to sit on the dock and fish off the dock, like, and help people around the world. That's what I want. Like, that's not what I want, but some people, that's what they want. And it's like, okay, that's great. If that's what you want, who cares about these people who are traveling all over the world if that's not what you're interested in? Some people don't even like to get on airplanes. So to recap, number 1, you're focused solely on energetics without taking any real action. So get clear on your desire and take aligned moves. take aligned action. Number 2, you keep changing your mind and you can't decide what you want to create for both your life and your business. So again, clarity. Get really fucking clear on what it is that you want to create for both your life and your business. Not just your business, but your life. What is the difference that you want to make in the world? And how is that going to align with the way you show up within your family, your friends, all that kind of stuff? And it's okay to say, hey, I want to be able to go shopping at all these fancy stores. That's great, but also, what kind of business do you want? Like, what is the big reason why you're doing your business in the first place? One of the questions I also like to say when it comes to creating impact with clients and that, what I'll ask them is, so you want to create impact. That's great. But how would you like to do that? Instead of how do I do it? Like, how do I want to impact 1 million lives this year. Okay, awesome. And, so many people get caught up in the question, but like, how do I do that? I want to make $1 million this year, but how do I do that? It's not about how do you do it. How would you like to do that? What seems like a really fun way that you would like to be able to do that? How about we, if you want better answers, like ask better questions. So how would you like to do that? What would be really fun for you? So stop changing your mind. Decide what you want to create for both your life and your business. Number 3, you don't allow yourself to truly feel grateful for the little things. If you want to be in the vibe, if you want to attract all the desires to you, you need to be happy about the little things too. Number 4, you're looking for answers by using crystals, cards, meditation, etc. without having a clear question, right? What do you want? And then ask the question, right? If you were to walk up to me and you said like, Brittany, how do I grow my business? My first question would be, well, what kind of business do you have? What does growing your business mean to you, right? And we can't just, I always laugh too when someone comes into my DMs and they're like, do you have 7 minutes? Like I saw this one recently. Do you have 7 minutes that, I can give you some feedback on your content, on your posts? And my response was, you don't even know me or what I'm creating with my business. So how could you give me any sort of feedback if you don't even know what my goals are? So it's the same thing with your cards, for example. How is it supposed to give you any feedback if you aren't even clear on what the goal is? And lastly, you don't trust yourself or the universe. You keep looking at the time and wondering why you haven't received yet, while trying to figure out what you did wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. The only thing that you did wrong was that there's no trust in you and the universe because you don't even know what you want. So that is 5 reasons why you have not manifested your dream business yet, is because most likely you don't have clarity. And you know what? Here's the thing. You might be someone who has clarity. You might be like, you know what, Brittany? I'm very clear on the business that I want, but I haven't achieved it yet. Okay? So if you haven't achieved it yet, why? Which of those 5 things are you missing? Like, what is the one piece? It's like, are you focusing too much on energetics? You know what you want, but are you focusing too much on meditating every day? Which is good if you meditate every day, but are you not making aligned moves? When's the last time you did a post? When's the last time you connected with anyone? Or did someone tell you that you can sprinkle fairy dust on your food and, people will come to you? If nobody knows who you are, how are they going to come to you? Maybe it's like, well, I know what I want. I'm making aligned moves. And it's like, okay, but do you keep changing your mind? Are you making the aligned moves in the sense that like you choose a strategy and you're a hustler, you're a hard worker, you want this and you want it so bad that you are willing to try anything. And because you're willing to try anything, you're doing everything versus like become the master of like one thing. Is that what's holding you back? Maybe you're someone who it's like, I am all in on this one thing, but like, why isn't people interacting with me? Like, I'm doing all the reels. I'm focused solely on the reels. And I know that the tips and the tricks that I'm sharing are valuable. Maybe people are even watching but why aren't they buying? And so you're disconnected with that. Is it because of your energy? Can people feel that? Maybe it's that you aren't asking the right question to other people. Maybe you need to go out and ask your audience, like, what do you want, right? It's like you could put in your polls, like, do you want this or do you want this? And maybe what you're offering isn't that. Maybe your offer is too much focused on the how and not on the results of what they're going to get. So it's like you teach tips and tricks all the time. You're teaching people how to achieve something, but you're not actually sharing the results. Are you guilty of not sharing your successes, your client successes, the really cool things about your personal life, right? Like that's why people invest in coaches, is because they often want that the life that they have or whatever they're doing, they want that. They see that they're an expert in whatever it is, and that's why they hire you. Like, duh. So if that's the case, they want your result, but if you're not sharing about the results that they're going to achieve by working with you, whether that be you're telling them about the results or you're visually showing them your personal life and the way that you're an embodiment, is that why no one's buying? Or is it that your energy, like you have the clarity, you have the strategy, people are connecting, you're talking about the results, but is it that you don't believe in yourself? Is it actually underlying that, like, you don't believe in yourself, and just when something good happens, you like back off? Maybe you don't even realize that you're doing it. One of the things that I did a long time ago was when it was sales calls, I was taught a strategy by a former coach of mine, and I felt really sleazy and salesy and gross when I did these sales calls. And I was so tired of hearing no, that when I literally had people reaching out to me in the DMs, wanting to learn more, wanting to work with me, I would like not even finish the conversation with them, or I would be like, in order to book them on a sales call, because I was just like, well, they're going to say no anyway, so what's the point? And so is there things that you're actually doing that you don't even realize, that because you don't believe in yourself or because you're so frustrated with things not working that you're actually limiting yourself, that it's like you're trying to keep yourself safe from the disappointment, so you're actually like not taking that next step? Is that something that you're possibly doing? So I'd love to hear from you all. Feel free to reach out. You can find me on socials, Make Life Your Bitch podcast on Instagram, or Brittany.Alysia. Do the podcast one is probably best. Or you can find me on Facebook and tell me, like, what did you get most from this episode? And what would you love to hear even more about? If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, what are the episodes that you absolutely love? And what are the ones that like you want to know more of? Is it that you're like, I just love business strategy? Or is it that like, Brittany, I just love hearing about the quantum physics and the manifestation side of things, because I have a really good strategy, but I know my mindset needs help, whatever it is. So let me know. And for all of you listening out there, check out the description for the links for the Black Friday offers. If you are someone who you're listening to this after the offers are over, this link will still be there. It'll just direct you to the current pricing. And for all of you listening, go out there. It's time to make life your bitch. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please share it with your bestie. And if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast player. If you have any questions, feedback, or compliments that you want to throw like confetti, you can reach me directly at podcast@makelifeyourbitch.co. Thanks for listening.